So anyway, I just want to go into like a little bit behind the scenes. Yes, there's send a gift, but you go so authentic and deep, and it's why you build meaningful relationships, and it's why you have so much relationship equity. So give me some of the thought process or playbook or things you've learned along the way, John. I don't want this to be, I'm just sharing some of it because it's so awesome how you do it, and I think it can help a lot of advisors out there.
Yeah. Well, I think that you mentioned something. You don't just open up your Rolodex to anybody, and I don't either. But part of what makes what we do work, and I didn't realize this for the first probably 10 or 15 years, is who you are, who you're being, like, matters the most. And I used to think it was like I could like do the great gifts and I started to understand that, like, if I did like with these crazy $2,000 artifact mugs that made billionaires cry, if I give that to somebody cold and have no relationship with them, or their wife or husband gives that to them, their spouse, the same thing given, but whoever has the relational capital, now there's a multiplication effect. If the relationship is at a 0 and you multiply it times 1,000,000, you still have 0. Now, if you have a relationship that's 1,000,000 and then you give $1 million level, and I kind of like, this is kind of a Jesse Itzler concept of like a billionaire versus a spiritual billionaire. And like he talked about, like, a lot of people just focus on the financial, but if you multiply that times your spirit, and your spirit's 0, billion times 0 is still 0. And so I started to recognize that, like, who you are is part of the gift, because it shows, like, if somebody's that you love and respect and adore, it's your hero, it's your mentor. If they give you a Rolex that's engraved with a certain quote, versus just some person that's trying to buy your attention or trying to buy your loyalty, they're the same thing, but it communicates to who you are being, and who you are magnifies what times the gift. And so a lot of times people are like, John, I don't care about gifts. I'll invest in dinners and rounds of golf. I'll invest in this. I'll invest in coaching to 6 figures. You know, they have the peanut brittle budget. And I'm like, that's fine. Go learn how to be an amazing human being, a business owner, whatever else. But really the thing is, all it is like, it shows somebody the physical gift. If you do it well, it should be a transfer of love and emotion. It should be a delivery vehicle for that connection of, like, I see you, I took the time out of my busy day and used my relationship, my resources, my time, my energy, and here's that transfer to you. And if you have a tight relationship with that person, you do it well, there's this multiplication effect. And so I started to recognize that, yeah, my recipe works universally in financial services, insurance, works in New York City, works in Africa, but there was a missing ingredient, and I didn't realize that the person who's giving it, like, because I would see, like, people get amazing results with the exact same recipe of, dropping $100,000, and somebody else would drop $100,000 and get 1/10 results of referrals and deal flow and access, because those are the outcomes that we want, right? Like, nobody's like, man, I just need a gifting budget. Like, you're investing in the relationship, hoping that your business grows. You're hoping that revenues grow. You're hoping that person talks about you actively at the golf course or the board meeting or the dinner table or whatever, like, with their inner circle. You're wanting some sort of outcome. And I started to notice that, like, 2 people would do the exact same recipe in the same industry, and one would get insane results and one wouldn't. And so it's made me want to work more with, like, world-class givers that are really good at what they do. And it's a genuine extension of who they are, versus a manipulation of, like, maybe what they want to be or what they hope to be, but they aren't there yet. And so, anyway, like, the whole giftology stuff works, and I see people, it works with college students, it works in all industries, but that was an ingredient that I didn't recognize. But if you run a really good dialed in business, and you start to realize, man, like, I've been doing this wrong, and the logos, like, that's a manipulation. That's not an extension of who I really want to be. Like, that's not excellence. That's not a gift. That's a promotional product. And the handwritten note, like, your point of, like, the videos, like, why does that matter? Because it makes the other person feel seen, and, like, wow, like, this person, like, it's like the 5 love languages. Like, if you can leverage any one of those 5, great. If you can leverage all of them, even better. But, like, the video works because of, like, man, Brad matters, John matters. Like, and even if you're a billionaire, that, like, we all want our legacy to have been, like, somebody who matters.